tripod here.
Is that gonna be the live stream bad boy?
Yeah, that's the camera you broke out the other day.
I'm so excited to use it.
Hey, why is it so hard? Stop. There we go.
I saw it at the hip hop show last night.
Oh, you were there too?
Yeah, I tried to wave, but you didn't see me. It was so funny. I was dying like.
We are live right this second. Oh.
Hello, everybody. How exciting.
It sounds okay, I think, but it's a little bit of a delay. Say hello, everybody.
Hello. Welcome to our happy camera testing. Oh, you were there too?
Sounds pretty good so far. I will pause this. We are live right this second.
Hello, everybody.
I look like a gremlin almost. I look like
It's
such
always
a
a delay.
gremlin.
Okay.
Sounds okay, I think, but
It sounds okay except that it's me.
Say
hello, everybody. I'll adjust that right when you get going. It's easier if I'm kind of close to it myself.
Oh, you doing it on the fly over here?
Look at you go rocking.
How was the festival last Friday?
Oh, at the library.
Well, around Burlington.
I was only at the library.
Okay.
But some of these
was
other
really
places,
good.
it was really
Yeah?
cool.
Everyone was really talented, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh yeah. And the library, that is a cool sounding space.
Yeah.
With that big, this is in the Burlington Fletcher Free Library in the main room.
Oh yeah, that's a
That
huge
space
room.
was amazing. That should be a place to go, like after hours and record drums. The best natural reverb around town.
There was one guy John and I recorded that was in like 4 different bands that were playing that day, so he just seemed the same spot while all the band members
Oh,
were
the
in
drummer,
switch up.
Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff.
He was in like
That was so cool.
These your notes. Here's-
Nope. No, I just found this under here.
You can give those to me.
Okay. Alright. We are 1 minute out.
Thank you, one.
I love it.
I think you should read this one, Tom. Make art, make love, make radio, be a DJ on 105.9
Yeah,
Radiator.
I could add that.
Actually, I like hyper local for hyper locals.
Y'all ready?
Yup.
Ready and go for it.
This is WOMM LP operating out of Burlington, Vermont, 105.9 The Radiator. It's a rocket show. Good evening, I'm your host, Tom Proctor, and with me tonight is Thomas Gunn. How's it going?
Good, how are you, Tom?
I'm pretty good. We always like kicking it off with a song, so what have you got for us?
This is a song called Swim with Fire. This is a video, you can find it on YouTube, and yeah.
So take it away.
Sounds pretty good so
You were a flower on the cover of an album from for. Our final hour was the most important detail we ignored. An empty promise in a world of make-believe that I devise. Now you shower all your praise upon a partner in disguise. Waiting tables in your memory, I'll serve you truth to chase your reverie, just to watch you turn and serve another too. So I lay my head on a pillow next to yours. No one said this be easy to endure. How can I live my life? Someone else is living it with you. Another sunrise. It's time to get myself up out of bed. Another sunset, and it's time to drown the pounding in my head. I lie awake in purgatory just to find an ending to our story as I scour every page and memory of you. So I lay my head on a pillow next to yours. Am I dead, or are there problems I've ignored? How can I live my life when someone else is living it with you? But you have to do the right thing even if it points them in the wrong direction, based on your own point of view. And though it kills you on the inside, you can know that at the end of this reflection, you did the best that you could do. So I lay my head on a pillow next to yours. No one said this be easy to endure. How can I live my life when someone else is living it with you? You have to do the right thing even if it points them in the wrong direction, based on your own point of view. And though it kills you on the inside, you can know that at the end of this reflection, you did the best that you could do.
Number 5. Fire there by Thomas Gunn. That was quite the tune. It got very fiery towards the end there.
Yeah.
Hence the name, I'm guessing.
Yes, very, very much so. The swimming in the fire, kind of some astrological references in there, kind of ups and downs.
Yeah. I mean, I've read and seen also on your Instagram and a few of your YouTube videos, you are a very passionate singer. Is it your kind of mood fits the music, or the music fits your mood? What?
It kind of changes depending on the song. Really, it really is. I come at it more from, I have a lot of feelings. But I've always been very passionate about the things I enjoy. I've always been very, very, not so much loud, but very, outspoken and in that way. And I definitely, and it just, these songs are just kind of my outlet for that, and it just kind of spills over, overflows. Yeah.
But I love that because, when you see a passionate singer, I feel like the crowd kind of gets on gets brought in to the artist more, and kind of feels what the artist feels a bit more than a singer that doesn't have that similar kind of drive or passion.
Yeah, I credit a lot of that to my theater background. I have a very long theater background, and learning things like stage presence and all that sort of stuff. It just kind of naturally, I fell into that very naturally, and so it's translated very naturally to my musical style and things like that.
So tell me a little bit about your background. We've not had you on the show before, so yeah, what's your story?
Yeah, grew up homeschooled. I'm the oldest of 7. All of them are listening right now. Hi guys, I love you. Moved around a lot, and ended up in Vermont, and was into theater, and because I was homeschooled, I was able to play music, get all my schoolwork and chores done in the morning, and basically have all the afternoon to play music. And my siblings and I would play music together, and
I like a real kind of Jackson 5 kind of thing going on.
Yeah. Never really explored that too much. We all have very, very different styles, so trying to mesh that in every once in a while.
Jackson 5 without the child abuse.
Right. Yes, very much so.
It's healthier.
Yes.
As you're the oldest of 7 and homeschooled, did that make you like the second dad in a way? Did you?
Very, very much the third parent. I relate to that very, very much. Just keeping everyone corralled, keeping everything together, kind of making sure everything's okay. Being that sort of extra support.
So you said all your kind of so you said your siblings are quite musical as well then?
Yes.
Out of shoes, your parents also quite musical?
Not at all.
Are you serious?
Not at all.
Oh, so you just kind of skipped that generation and
yeah, we really don't know where it came from, but all 7 of us are each musical in some way.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. And so you said these styles differ a lot. Have you guys ever tried to, as a 7-piece, try and stick them together, or is it just not feasible?
My baby sister, who is 7, her name's Emily. Hi, Emmy. And she very much wants that to happen, and wants mom and dad to be involved too, and it's very cute. So
mom and dad obviously just
they have to learn something first.
It's like triangle, maracas, something simple.
There we go.
Yeah, keep on the percussion.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. And so, how long have you been playing as a solo artist? I mean, you're a fantastic keyboard player. So I'm assuming you've played in bands as well, or has this always been kind of a solo effort?
It's pretty much been a solo endeavor. I've been pretty much in the theater world for since college and a few years after. Just been exploring the solo project, something I've always wanted to do for the last year and a half or so, but I've been playing piano since I was really, really little.
And when did you start writing music?
I started writing music probably when I was about 14 or 15. I think I wrote a whole bunch of fantasy inspired stuff, and jot stuff in on the MIDI keyboard and all that.
You went off the prog rock end real quickly then, yeah?
Oh yeah,
Wizards and
very much into Nightwish, very much into that whole European scene. Yeah.
Cool, I guess. To each his own. You started performing. What was the kind of impetus for taking, starting that writing, and obviously you're very good at keyboard, and putting that on stage and doing it in front of a live audience? Was a spark that we were actually I'm going to try and pursue this as a real thing?
The real spark, not to be a Debbie Downer, but I went through a separation and a divorce over the last year and a half, And when that first happened, that kind of re-sparked a lot of creative energy, as one might expect. And it kind of, I dug up a bunch of old stuff I'd written when I was from homeschooling days and just kind of put it all together, and I was like, I need to get this out here. I need a kind of a vehicle for all of this turmoil, and it has developed into all sorts of things since, but that's was kind of the original impetus. And being in a place in my theater work that I was able to actually make a little bit of extra time to create musically was also really helpful and convenient.
Wonderful. Do you mind me asking what kind of other creative outlet this go into?
Not so much being angry about a certain person, thank goodness. Just exploring kind of different styles, different genres, having a bunch of different guests join me on the show and like doing stuff together, and learning a little bit more on guitar, which I'm hoping to play a little bit tonight as well, and kind of just exploring, just doing whatever I think feels necessary in the creative moment.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I'd love to hear another song.
Sure.
Would you like to give a bit of background?
Yeah, this one is called Lipstick Ghost. It's one that started very upbeat in a major key on guitar, and then things happened, and it became a weird minor key song on the keyboard. Just kind of on a whim at a show at Sweet Melissa's in Montpelier, and my friends who were there, they really enjoyed it, so I'm like, alright, let's see where this goes. So, this is Lipstick Ghost. When you're the ex-kid, unemployed, you wander aimless, paranoid. Where did all the confusion go? You're just okay, kid, you'll be alright. You got someone to share the night till the end of this human show. Nothing protects me from the freckles on her cheeks. Sometimes I feel her kisses floating on my speech. Oh, lipstick ghost, see you spooking round your cryptic post. Well, all your run around, why don't you run around with me? There's no Sephora to supply you with the horrors in my eyes. Why is death hanging over me? You haunt me in the nicest ways with clever thoughts and a loving gaze. How I wish I could make you see. Well, nothing protects me from the food stuck in her teeth. When she moves through the walls, I laugh and cry in disbelief. Whoa, oh, 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 lipstick ghost, see you spooking round your cryptic post. While you're run around, why don't you run around with me? Oh, lipstick ghost, hear you checking on your nightly host. While you're run around, why don't you run around with me? Whoa, oh, oh. Whoa, oh, whoa, oh, oh, oh. While you're run around, why don't you run around with me? I won't bleed for you, and nothing's set in stone. But if you haunt me on my days, I'll worship at your throne. Never leave you for my phone, no. Oh, lipstick ghost, see you spooking round your cryptic post. While you're run around, why don't you run around with me? Oh, lipstick ghost, see you checking on your nightly host while you run around. Why don't you run around with me? Whoa, oh, oh. Whoa, oh, whoa, oh, oh, oh. While you run around, why don't you run around with me?
Lipstick Ghost by Thomas Gunn. That one certainly had a musical flair to it. So, with the theatre work that you do, do you do musicals?
I have done a lot of musicals, yeah.
So, do you draw quite a lot from with your own writing from theatre work?
There's definitely a lot of like deep-rooted inspiration in there. Like I used to listen to everything from the golden age of like Sound of Music and all of that to like I am now in love with Hadestown. Love a good Frank Wildhorn, Jekyll and Hyde. Just all of it, absolutely all of it.
It certainly seemed to have that kind of, as I said, flair and a narrative to it. Do you want to go into the song a little bit more? Lipstick Ghost is an interesting concept. And
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a story there.
Yeah, it's definitely something I did this. I sometimes will do these doodles or little like snippets of pieces that might like spark a story or spark something, and I just had it up on my wall when I was practicing one day, and I'm just like, I'm gonna write a song about this one. And I knew that, and like what does the imagery tell me? And it like immediately caught on to that situation where, oh, I like feel this about this person, of maybe they're like, is there any sort of deception involved? But overall, like, they're really great, and and I really appreciate them. But part of me, was when things were very new and things were very, very unstable, so I was like, gotta be a little wary, but things are really good. So kind of touting that balance and playing with the imagery and the language of ghosts and makeup and all of that. And yeah, I tend to wear a lot of makeup in my shows and stuff, so also with the theatrical links there too.
Yeah,
so,
that works for the whole thing. Well, actually kind of brings me on to my next question in terms of when you create a song, how do you go about crafting it? Is there a mood you need to be in? Is there a certain place you need to do it? What's that spark creatively for you?
I have notebooks upon notebooks upon notebooks of like little lines and snippets, and I'll take bits and pieces of some that work together, and then start there as a core, and then usually I'm either at the counter at Down Home Kitchen in Montpelier, one of my regular haunts for writing, or I'm at my family's homestead over in Vershire, just outside in the fresh air, just like bring my guitar or bring my notebook and just kind of have to be in that place of like peace, some sort of like familiarity, to just be able to relax and kind of slip into that zone, I like to think of it as.
And did you grow up out in the countryside, or you said you moved around quite a lot?
Yeah, we moved around quite a lot, from like small cities to neighborhoods, but for the most part, towards like my teenage upbringing, we were out in the middle of nowhere, kind of 4 miles out down a dirt road, so I'd spend hours like walking up and down dirt roads, down rivers. There's a lot of that sort of like nature sort of imagery that pops up in a lot of my work. And that is all from just like being outside all the time.
Yeah. I was going to ask you how much of the geography kind of changes the songs that you write. But
very, very much. Yeah. I'm at home in the mountains more than anywhere else, and like that's even more so starting to reflect in the stuff I'm writing now.
So yeah, stylistically, you've been writing since you were 14, and back in the Wizards and prog rock kind of days to where you are now. How have you felt your style has changed, and where do you feel it's going from this point? It's
definitely, I don't know whether to call it mature. I don't know if that's a fair word to use, but it has definitely matured from where it was. I'm definitely a lot more careful about my lyric choices. I've changed a lot as a person too. I went from like homeschool nerd to, still a homeschool nerd, but maybe a little bit more worldly in the sense, and just kind of gaining new perspectives on life and things, and yeah, that really has has affected my work in positive ways. Really taking the time to be careful about not being too self-centered. I in the past have been a very self-centered person, and I didn't like that about myself. And so I've taken steps to really not let that show in the lyrics.
And in terms of getting all this down, have you gone into the recording studio? Have you managed to? Have you got plans to do that? What's it looking like in terms of your own next steps in the musical environment of Vermont?
Yeah, so I have a few videos on YouTube. I have Swimming with Fire, like I mentioned, and a couple of guitar songs, one of which we did a music video with my brother, Gunn, who's a videographer down in Virginia. You can check out his work too. And we have those on YouTube, and on my list of goals for 2019 is to record an EP. So there will be one coming down the line, probably sometime in the fall, maybe early December or so. That's the plan right now.
And how did you gather those songs together as those particular songs? What I'm guessing you've got a trove that you can kind of pick from. So what made these particular songs that you are planning to record stand out for you?
There are certain songs that I think everyone has a soft spot for every one of their songs, but I think in my own experience there are a few that really stand out, whether I think they're good, whatever that means, or if they just really spoke to me in that moment and they've stuck through. Like I've had a pretty consistent monthly show at Sweet Melissa's for the last year and a half, and that's kind of been my kind of workshop to like work out a lot of these, and the ones that have kind of stuck through since then are kind of the ones that I'm like, okay, let's do these. I like the feel of these feel good. It's kind of been a big like trial and error, like right on stage, like in the moment, like no rehearsals, no takebacks. Like if it lands, it lands. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And it's been a really moving experience to work it out like that.
Yeah, it's gotta be kind of sometimes tough on the old ego, because especially when you put something out there that doesn't really have the response you're expecting. Yes,
that has happened many times. but it's good. Takes you back down a couple notches, which sometimes needs to happen, and then you keep on trucking.
Right. And we've got about enough time to plug away and let us know where you're going to be playing next, and where to find you on social media and all that jazz.
Sure. You can find me on social media. I'm on Instagram quite a bit, at Thomas Gunn Music. That's kind of the big one. I'm at Sweet Melissa's in Montpelier tomorrow at 6. And then the big plug that I want to mention here is the Somewhere Out There Festival in Worcester, Vermont, just north of Montpelier. It's August 17th. You can camp. It's going to be awesome. There's a ton of bands from the Montpelier Central Vermont scene. Bishop LaVey, who will be on soon, he's also playing that festival. Come on out, it's going to be a really, really good time. Posters are coming up soon. There's an event on Facebook. You can go to @SomewhereOutThereMusic on Facebook to check it out, see all the bands that are playing. It's going to be a really good time. It's the third year running, and it's all for charity. We're raising money for, I believe we picked the Young Center to help with kids in detention facilities on the southern border.
Yeah, and I actually went to that festival last year, and it just want to put a second shout out to Somewhere Out There Festival. Fantastic festival. The guy who runs it, Josh, absolutely killer dude. Like, really love that guy.
Josh is good people.
He is indeed, and as he said, all for charity. He does not make a single penny from it. In fact, he loses a substantial sum from it.
Yes, it's true.
But he does it out of the goodness of his heart, and because he loves music and loves his community. So another shout out for Somewhere Out There Festival. It'll be really great seeing you there. I'll be definitely going this year.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah, we got time for one more song, so what have you got for us?
I'm going to switch over to the guitar, and I'm going to play a new one. It's on YouTube. I just uploaded it earlier this week. It's called Rain Clouds, and it's kind of, it's barely 3 or 4 weeks old, and it's kind of about how things should have been handled.
Alright.
Yeah.
Quick shot of vodka before you start.
Oh yeah. Just my moonshine in the mason jar, A classy move.
I'm gonna get that gravelly voice.
Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. Thank you. Alright, this is Rain Clouds. clouds forming, there's shelter up ahead. Don't hurt your head. Thunder crashes over the place you used to live. When the heat just wouldn't give, and the flies, they got you good. So misunderstood. Feel the rain clouds forming, kiss the raindrops on her hair. You don't have a lot of time left to see her stop and stare. When the storm door closes, the shadows won't be long. So find where you belong. But the flies, they got you good. So misunderstood. Feel the rain clouds forming, kiss the raindrops on her hair. You don't have a lot of time left to see her stop and stare. Like an inchworm on his thread, hanging left for dead man. When the rain falls on your head, it's time to go to bed, man. But the lies, they got you good. So misunderstood. Yeah, the lies, they got you good. So misunderstood. Feel the rain clouds forming, kiss the raindrops on her hair. You don't have a lot of time left to see her stop and stare.
Thomas Gunn, thank you so much for coming in, that was great.
Thanks so much, Tom.
Looking forward to seeing you at somewhere out there as well. Coming up next, we've got Bishop LaVey, sorry. And so, no, it's the French, it's ruined me. So we got Bishop LaVey coming up in just a moment, so hang around, we'll be right back in a minute. Sorry about that. Every time. Every time.
Got a whole half hour to correct yourself.
It's the third time I have screwed up a French second name. Today. Today.
Thank you, Bob. That was great.
Thank
I
you.
really enjoyed that. Do you have
What other French names
recorded
there?
stuff yet?
There was
Just the first one and that last one on YouTube and a music video for a song called Bombs Away.
If you have any audio files you want to send along,
His first name is Andy.
Thank you. Alright, awesome.
And then there was another one,
when DJs aren't playing,
mentioned
yeah.
something about some revolution.
Like a
selection
playlist?
of modern music and that just plays on.
Okay. Awesome, thank you.
Well, that's three times today.
Now I'm like, kind of what
Yeah,
the
yeah.
I'm just gonna leave this chair here so I can put my.
I couldn't pronounce her name. I kept turning to Jim being like, what's her name?
Write it down phonetically.
Might want to turn on the guitar mic because I don't want to punch it like super hard. So I don't want to like
Yeah, no, we're gonna move that.
punch the mic. Just punch it.
My friend and her sisters all very traditional.
Note to self: put on deodorant after a hot day in the sun.
I hate
That's
how
what we're
I refer to any person.
We're gonna throw some out here before a hot day in the sun.
I did that also. I'm a big man who sweats a lot.
Like when I tell people I come from a long line of sweaters.
That's a good one. I haven't heard that one.
My dad thinks about work and he starts sweating.
Come from a long line of sweaters. Just pull the thread.
That ends up in a song. Once you're writing credits.
Man, yeah, someone should write that song.
Who knows what it'll be on?
Right, oh god.
Is this gonna be fine about here?
Yeah. Let's.
I mean, we'll move this in here.
My parents
A little higher.
I tend to. Bruce Springsteen and shit.
Okay.
Oh, no worries, man. Yeah, all good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, sorry, man. You really,
Get Sam to.
How did you find out about somewhere out there?
I went last year.
Oh, you did as well?
Yeah, I was there. And I like on the scene, like I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go see my friends and like, hang out. That's awesome.
2 minutes, 3 minutes.
He asked me if I wanted to play the last year, but I was like, I can't like I was working a lot more, so I'm actually working for that's a plus thing. Yeah, he asked me if I wanted to play, but I was like, I'm gonna just enjoy this. Everybody knows I'm just playing around. But then yeah, last year I've been involved with yeah, it's been good.
Feel comfortable location-wise in relation to Tom? Good?
I'm good. I can't really see him.
I know that. Jim likes his lights.
Absolutely great guy. Can't take
Really, what Tom? No, what we need is this.
I mean,
You see him a little?
I can definitely see him better.
that land and there we go. Something like that.
That's better.
as long as him that had
So even just make, not making any money.
Red, too.
Basically doing $8,000 to down.
Oh, that's the line. That part was amazing. Like I'd seen some bonfires. This year too.
Ready when you are.
Sorry. Alright.
Okie doke.
My friend, I went out the other night. got kind of drunk and she just kept buying beers. She was like, oh, it's $2. And then like she got one, I was like halfway through with it, and then she drank it.
I am still living.
And welcome back. This is the Rocket Shop. I'm your host, Tom Proctor. With me now is Bishop LaVey.
How's it going? Thanks for having me back.
Thank you for coming back. Well, as I said, we always like kicking off with a song. So, what have you got for us?
I've got from my last album. It's the fan favorite or friend favorite. I don't think I have any fans. They're all friends. It's called "The Man Afraid of Light."
All right, take it away.
Like a specter in the night. Story has been told about the man afraid of flight.
All right, "The Man Afraid of Light" by Bishop LaVey there. Well, welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
And how was your winter, and what have you been doing musically in the intervening months?
Well, since you saw me last, I recorded and released an album called Light.
That's pretty impressive.
Yep. And it is a concept album about the apocalypse. And it got pretty well received by friends and critics. Oh, one critic. From County Tracks. He's a great guy.
That's fantastic.
He loved the album. And so, I send him all my songs now. Like, hey, do you like this too? Hey, do you like this too?
So he's definitely in the fan category rather than the friend category, though.
He's definitely in the critic category. He's a critic who really likes my music.
Well, that's fantastic. So yeah, tell me about the recording process. I know we were talking in November. You had the plan to recording spring, so fantastic for you just sticking with that because I know how hard it is.
Yeah,
to do
after I was here last, I called it a day on shows for the winter time and spent the whole winter recording that album, and then in February I released it, and it was awesome.
And how was the recording process? Were you doing it? Was it a home recording?
Yeah, it was in my home studio, and playing every instrument and then vocals and then mixing, mastering, and then releasing takes a lot longer when you do it by yourself.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper though.
Yeah,
And you learn a lot
Certainly
of skills
cheaper.
along the way.
Oh yeah, I got way better at keyboard.
So, how was, I mean, especially in the middle of winter Vermont, how was that kind of recording process in terms, because you got quite an emotional style to you. You put a lot into the songs that you sing and the lyrics that you write. So,
Yeah.
in terms of that, aesthetic that you were working within, how did that feel for you?
It went really well because I had most of the songs written already. One of them I had to write on the fly, which became the single for the album. And it's called Foes from Our Friends, because I had a beginning and an end of the album, but I didn't have a middle. And since it was a story that I was telling, not having a middle part of your story it's not a complete story.
No, they don't say beginning, end, it's
Yeah.
beginning, middle, end.
Yeah, it's like not including the two towers in Lord of the Rings. You just
The
get
best
confused.
one.
Yeah.
And so the album's a concept album about the apocalypse. Would you like to tell us a little bit more? How did you come up with the concept and what came first? The songs or the concept, and then you kind of wrote the songs around it.
I had a couple of songs. Man Afraid of Light was a song I wrote before I came up with the concept, and that's more of a personal song that I wrote when I was getting really down about winter, and winter hadn't even started yet. It was just the thought of winter. And that it was like about hiding, like just going into your house and locking the door, and then nobody ever sees you again because you're a hermit now. And then writing Foes from Our Friends was that I was like, all right, what happens in the middle? So you have the beginning, and then the end is obviously apocalypse. What happens in the middle? So I wrote a song about like World War III. So the battlefield that ends the world.
All right.
And that one was a lot of fun. I'm not going to play it tonight because it's really fast paced, and I'm just going to blow out my voice if I do.
Have you had an opportunity to play the whole album all the way through?
Yeah, at the release show, the
Yeah.
day of the release of the album, I had a release show at the Reservoir in Waterbury, and I played the album in its entirety along with other songs. So it took a while, and by the end of the show, my voice was completely blown out. Because on a lot of those songs, in the studio, you can scream into a microphone, go get some tea, take an hour, and then come back. And then when you're doing it live, it starts to hurt a little bit after a while.
Yeah.
But that's what they make Narragansett for. But then I released that album, but I wasn't really done writing, so I wrote more singles after that, just one after the next.
Yeah, so I noticed that you have a lot of singles out on your Bandcamp at the moment.
Yeah.
You had one come out in April. I think you had another one come out in May.
Yeah.
Did you have one come out in June as well?
No, actually, I'm doing that in the studio tomorrow.
Okay.
Doing the next single.
Preempting that one. So yeah, tell me about that. So was it a case of you complete the album, but they still had a lot of thoughts left in your head?
It was sort of, I didn't want to get writer's block, and I knew if I took too long to write another song, then I would. And that's kind of where I'm at now. So I have one more song, so I'll have 3 singles in a row, but I think I'm probably going to take a break for a couple months and figure out what I'm going to do next, because it was really hard to follow up a concept album. Like, where do I go from here? What do I do? So I started writing songs about myths. And that's easy to do enough if you just, like, read a magazine about a myth. Or read a couple pages about a myth, you can just write it. Like, pretend that you are that. And just do that.
What kind of myths are you focusing on?
There's a song called The Myth Has Broken, which is about the world losing faith in, like, old world deities. Like the Norse gods, Roman, Greek, Egyptian. And that everything kind of fell into Judeo-Christianity, and they looked at the people who believed in those myths as pagans.
You should. Have you ever read American Gods?
I haven't read it. So a lot of people have suggested that book to me.
Yeah, it's not too dissimilar to that kind of concept. Very good anyway. There's a TV show as well. But just plugging my own personal novel.
I definitely got to get around to it.
Yeah.
Right now I'm reading a book about Rasputin.
Oh, cool. I can very easily imagine that you can write a few songs about that. In fact, you could probably write an entire album about Rasputin.
That would be a great concept album.
Right.
I don't think it would be as well received as Light, though.
Oh, no?
No, because he was a demented human being.
He was. A lot of stories can come from that, though.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to hear another song.
All right, I'm gonna do the Myth Is Broken right now, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Sometimes I wonder too, they still out there, or have we been played for fools? The tales of conquest only came for the frightful few. Now what have we missed? No lightning hands of doom. What has happened? The lights have left the sky. The myth has broken. The pagan no longer flies. The pagans no longer fly. Do you believe? Do they believe in you? Are you watching? Because they're watching you. Don't forget them. Your memory's your only tool. But no one trusts you. Only you will know the truth. What has happened? The lights have left the sky. The myth has broken. The pagan no longer flies. The pagans no longer fly.
The Myth Is Broken there by Bishop LaVey. And, well, we were talking about it a bit earlier. You guys are all from the same Montpellier scene.
Oh yeah.
You and Thomas Gunn and, I was saying Django Koenig as well, and the Estrogen. And so I was kind of curious about the differences, the positives and the negatives of the Montpellier music scene versus the Burlington music scene, and maybe any other music scenes in
Okay, well, the good thing about the Montpelier music scene is that I'm part of it, and that I'm not.
Always a plus.
I play in Burlington, but I wouldn't say that I'm part of the scene. I know a lot of the bands up here, and they're all really good musicians and really good guys. But I don't do nearly as many shows up here as I do in Montpelier. And one of the other good things about the Montpelier music scene, which separates it, I think, from a lot of scenes, is that no two acts are the same, even kind of.
Mm.
So you have Thomas, who's an amazing piano player and vocalist, and then Yestrogen's your surf pop.
Yeah.
I play doom folk.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. We'll get on to that one in a second.
And then there's an artist, Lilith, who has one of the most beautiful voices I've ever heard, and she's a singer-songwriter, and she definitely deserves a shout out at least if you're talking about the Montpelier music scene.
Oh, we should get her in here. You should tell us to give us a.
If she's listening, she'll reach out.
I'd definitely love to get her in so we can have a listen to her play. In fact, it's funny you should mention that how so diverse you are, because talking of somewhere out the festival, which I believe you're playing this year.
Oh yeah, I think I'm the opening act at 2 p.m.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we'll all be there.
I'm usually not even awake at 2.
But one thing that really struck me about that festival last year, the concept was pretty cool of just one act playing, and there's two stages, and one act would play on one stage, and then once that ended, the next act would immediately start, and so on and so forth throughout the night. I thought that was a great idea, because it means people, for a festival that size, you kind of want everyone focused on the one band. But second of all, the acts were so incredibly different from start to finish, and all of my cup of tea, but very much strikingly different. And I feel that maybe somewhere out there might be taking something from the Montpelier music scene here.
I think that's probably a good call. I mean, aren't the Tsunami Bots playing? Mm-hmm. I'm really excited about that too, because I love those guys.
Great name.
Yeah. But I think it stems from the Montpelier music scene. Definitely stems from Charlio's and Sweet Melissa's, because Charlio's used to be punk and rock, and Sweet Melissa's would accompany anything, and that led Charlio's to accompany anything. And so now you've got these two bars that host music nightly that have all sorts of acts, and that did a lot of good things for the Montpelier music scene in a way of bringing crowds to whoever.
Mm. And Thomas was saying before the interview that you have some nights where you try stuff out and it doesn't quite work, and you have other nights where you try different. You've got that kind of trial and error kind of environment, which I'm sure helps immensely. But is it the people there that kind of make it?
Montpelier's a weird town. It's a weird town with a lot of weird people who are all different, but we're all friends, or at least know each other. It's a small big town. Like, everybody knows each other, but there's a lot of people,
Right.
and everyone's got their own thing going on, including art and music. Everyone's doing their own thing, and then you end up at a festival like somewhere out there where everyone's doing their own thing, but they're doing it together.
Right. Let's move on to the genre that you picked.
Oh yeah.
So I saw doom folk punk, folk.
So people have said either one. So doom folk, or it's. I think my first album was more punk, but I haven't done anything really punk rock since. I think people read folk punk and they just add, or they read folk or something before folk and they add punk to it, because I don't dress the part of someone who plays folk music, and I don't really play your stereotypical folk music. And it's Debbie, but it's not punk either.
But you are playing an acoustic guitar, and therefore you're stuck in the box of folk immediately.
I also write songs about the downtrodden, or themes of dark things.
I also saw that in the blurb you provided, that you do kind of draw from that kind of folk background. Of talking about downtrodden, but you kind of make that distinction of 60s folk talking about kind of labor
like
rights.
Politics and labor rights and rights, where that's all well and good. I could play that song, but every other folk act plays that.
So what if it's not about labor rights? What kind of downtrodden people are you singing about? Who are you trying to champion in your songs?
I guess what I'm trying to do with the new singles, because everybody would be downtrodden during the apocalypse.
That's true.
And so with the new singles, I'm trying to dig into history about who would. So I guess not terribly downtrodden would be fictional gods, but they were forgotten and left behind, and that fits the category of downtrodden.
From their perspective, very much downtrodden.
Oh yes.
Yeah, maybe not from us. They're still deities.
But also the people who practiced, pagans and different cultures, were kind of shut down and assimilated into Judeo-Christianity. So all those cultures were lost.
Right. Yeah, very, very true.
Last time we spoke, we were talking a little bit about collaborations, and as you said, the Montpellier scene's got a lot of weird and wonderful people kicking around. Have you been working with anyone else on any of these tunes?
Not yet. I want to with the upcoming single. I definitely want to work with Thomas because I can't play keyboard to save my life. And his vocals are amazing, and I want those too. And I want to extend an arm to some other people in the scene to see if they would want to be on it as well. But I haven't made official like requests to people besides Thomas.
Okay.
Right now.
Right now. It's a big
I haven't like extended an arm and been like, hey, you guys want to help me with this? Because I've done up to this point, I've done everything DIY.
You say you're playing every kind of instrument on when you're recording.
Yeah.
And it's going to be somewhat exhausting.
It is, but also I start feeling like if I don't start working with other people, I'm just going to be a musical dictator. Where like if I start later working with other people, I'm going to be a jerk about it. So.
And if you become a musical dictator, then you'll be the one doing the downtrodding. So.
Yeah, full circle.
Yeah, you'll have to sing songs about the people that you're putting under your foot. So you'll play this somewhere at the festival. What are the gigs you got coming up?
I'm actually playing out of state in July. I'm playing at a bar called Desperate Annie's in Saratoga Springs with I can't exactly remember the name of the promoter right now. And then I'm playing at Sweet Melissa's in July as well. I think Sweet Melissa's comes first, then New York, and then in August I play somewhere out there, and then I play down in Somerville, Mass.
So you're kind of kicking all around the northeast.
Trying my best.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And if any kind of social media or anything you want to plug?
I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, Bandcamp. All just search Bishop LaVey or bishoplavey.bandcamp.com. I'm also on Facebook, making daily updates, and I'm on Instagram.
I do see that you're incredibly regular on social media. You're an incredible promoter for yourself.
Try my best. Yeah.
That's almost a full-time job in itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
my boss at my real job doesn't get it.
Well, it's been wonderful having you on again. Thank you so much, and
thank you for having me on again.
Next album comes out. Feel free to get in touch.
I think it's just going to be singles for the rest of the year. So it's just going to be single after single after single. Maybe I'll compile them at the end of the year and give you an album.
I'd love to get like a big Montpellier session coming in. Let's get a few bands from one area maybe to come in and do a big show or something. That would be pretty awesome. I love all you guys from Montpellier, so it's always a pleasure having you.
Well, we appreciate that.
Well, we've got about time for one more song. So,
all right.
What have you got for us?
I'm going to play my latest single. It's called Romulus, and it is about the fall of Rome.
Okay.
largest army you'd ever seen. And just as quick I lay asunder. All alone I bend my knee. Now I'm coming home. See, now I'm what's left of Rome.
Alright, Reminiscence by Bishop LaVey. Thank you so much once again for coming in.
Thank you for having me on again.
Anytime, anytime. Well, next week we are not going to be here because it is July 4th, 3rd, and we're not going to be here because it's July 3rd. We'll be doing fireworks.
Happy America.
So happy America.
USA.
But the week after we'll be having Jesse Taylor and dogs who know their dogs, who I'm very curious to talk about their names. They'll be on June 10th, so catch us then, July 10th. Thank you, Bob. I need to get my months right. This has been The Rocket Shop. Thank you very much for listening. I'm being your host, Tom Proctor. Good night.
It's so hot right here.
Right?
Dogs who know
God.
their dogs. When I saw that on the list, that's gotta be the best band name I've seen.
Right?
Dogs, you know.
Dogs who know their dogs.